What's up? It's the HODLs. We're back here with another video. I am smiling because it's another day to be alive, to get a chance to make it count, right? But it's even better when you know what's enforcing what you're doing day to day, right? The time, the energy you're providing to a company, to individuals, it should be fulfilling, but at the same time, you want to preserve it and you want it to be repriced, because energy, monetary energy given in fiat is dissipating constantly. So this is why I say stacking sats, which is the smallest denomination of Bitcoin, is a great way to have your energy appreciated and to have it stored and even repriced so it can keep up with the rate of inflation, so you can pass it down to future legacies and your future children and grandchildren. And if you're doing that, make sure you're stacking responsibly. Go to a peer-to-peer decentralized exchange in order to trade Bitcoin at a place like HODL.com. That link is down in the description box below. All you need is an email address and a password. Also, take that Bitcoin, store it safely in a cold storage wallet, preferably open sourced, such as what we see in the CoinKite store down below. Link in the description to CoinKite.com. You'll find a cold card wallet, open source Bitcoin only wallet. Let's get it. So I want to talk a little bit about the energy investment with Bitcoin. The energy investment, meaning that what I just discussed a little bit earlier, what I was hinting at is that your day-to-day use of energy. Right, how you make your money. You know, I know money can be gotten, it can be ill-gotten, it can be gotten through hard work, but for those, we're not really discussing those who get it through ill-gotten ways, such as scamming and you know, pretty much scamming, robbing, anything that's pretty much immoral and not a part of the Ten Commandments. But we're talking about people who get it through actual hard work, who was told to do the right thing, who was told to, you know, save up, pay for school, save up, pay for that trip, work a job, go to school to learn a trade. You know, people who are doing, you know, the people who are pretty much were the underpinning of Western society. And these were the people who built the country, right? The people who were in construction, who were building these homes, who was out there doing the tough jobs, and they were doing it for a living. And now these very people are just like the majority of people. Their labor, their monetary, not the monetary, but their energy, their work energy has been stolen by those who are closest to accessing fiat money at a cheap cost. So if people can access, if the very few who don't work, they're able to access fiat money with a 0 to 1% interest rate, that means that they can take that money and then they can buy assets, and thus they are essentially inflating those assets, because those assets are now being owned forever for roughly no cost, no work, right? So that's the thing, right? You work for your money, but there's people who can just be given the money, or they're close enough to receive windfalls, government programs, these insane bonuses for no reason, getting paid a lot of money, and then they'll buy the assets, while you, who actually puts in the work and contributes to society, you're left to, you have a dream deferred when it comes to saving for that down payment for that home, versus BlackRock or someone who's, you know, who's closest to the money printer can buy it, and then, you know, as inflation surges due to the fact that the money supply has increased, then they're just sitting on that asset, and then they can pay back whatever they borrow at a 0 to 1% interest rate off the value of those inflated assets. So you got to understand the overall economic scam, or the financial scam of fiat money. And so this is what I think the energy that backs Bitcoin, right? The energy that backs Bitcoin is proof of work, right? So first of all, Bitcoin is finite in supply. supply. So it can't be just created out of thin air. So a privileged few or a insider group can just buy things with Bitcoin. And so its monetary policy is very strict and very predictable, and which that's valuable on its own. But the fact that it's backed by energy, proof of work, right? So you can work for it directly in the real world, meaning that you can do something for somebody, provide a service or good for somebody, and then in turn they can go ahead and be compensated in Bitcoin. Also, to secure the network, energy is required in the form of electricity, in the form of time energy, for the miners have to actually give their energy towards mining it, towards saving up to buy the hardware and the actual electricity. And so much energy is now behind the Bitcoin network because it has grown vastly in the past 13 years that it would take a significant amount of effort in order to even have a 10%, I would say even an insignificant percentage effect on trying to compromise the network. So it would just take so much energy because the network has grown. So therefore, there's a sense of security and integrity behind the Bitcoin network as far as keeping a sorry y'all, but people are driving nuts out here. As far as keeping a legitimate ledger, right? A ledger that can be trusted, right? You can go on that chain. So this is what the argument, some people I'm hearing about, like, what if BlackRock comes out with their own, like they own so much Bitcoin and then they end up, and then like, of course a lot of people don't understand what Bitcoin is. So if BlackRock decides to split the chain for some reason, will people go with that chain because that's the one that will probably have a more enticing fiat value versus the legacy chain, if that was ever happen hypothetically? And I say that the legacy chain is, in fact, if you know the value of Bitcoin, what I just discussed as far as the energy backing it, and how that ledger is valuable because it has the most energy backing it as far as legitimizing and validating transactions and being a secure, much more decentralized network, then you'll know that that legacy chain is more valuable, regardless of what the fiat value would be, right? Because that's the essential use case of Bitcoin. So anyways, just want to discuss the whole energy idea of your monetary energy being dissipated, your work energy being considered worthless if you're keeping it in fiat or any other thing that's not finite in supply. And I just went over how it's that thing that's finite in supply, which is Bitcoin, is being enforced by a substantial amount of energy of work, okay, through proof of work. So anyways, I'm gonna head out. I'm gonna try to get home here and grab a meal. I hope you all are doing well. I hope you all stacking sats. Till next time.